welcome you all to this exciting program of today. Through Evening of Entrepreneurship, we are always discussing about entrepreneurship and how people have made it big. We have heard a lot of success stories of successful entrepreneurs over in this particular series. Now we are going away a step further, and we are trying to focus on various domains also. So today we are going to discuss upon what are different opportunities which exist in education sector, which is supposed to be amongst first three sectors which are growing with a tremendous pace. To start the initiative, I will request Mr. Sachin Yete to please introduce the speaker of today, Mr. Unikrishnan.
Good evening, friends. Today we have an eminent speaker who has actually started his career by guarding our frontiers. He was a captain in army and for a while, and then he thought that guarding frontiers was a job, but then he also wanted to guard the future of our children. So that is why he stepped into education, and he has done a lot of work in this area, which we will definitely see now. But when we talk of education, we generally think that education system is a problem, but nobody has thought to change it. And that is the reason why Mr. Unikrishnan is here. He thought that this is not right, and he thought that this can be changed, and it is not a thing just for charity, it can be a very good entrepreneurial opportunity also. That is why when we met, say 1 month back, I thought that he is a right person for Nagpur to address, and then we just talked and he agreed, and that we are thankful for that. Just to read about him, he is actually founder and director of Learn High, and he is also founder and managing trustee of Primus Public School, Bangalore. He was founder and trustee of Indus International School also. He has led implementation of new teaching pedagogies. He has seamlessly integrated the international and Indian syllabi to prepare students for higher studies both in India and overseas. He has received the prestigious Word of Honor from Officers Training Academy of the Indian Army. He is a post-graduation in management and also the alumnus of Officers Training Academy, Chennai, and winner of the Sword of Honor, then 2 gold medals and 1 silver medal also. He has 12 years of experience in the field of education, and he has been instrumental in conceiving and setting up the Indus International School. He has, the most important thing about him is he has hands-on approach, self-discipline and eye for detail. He has ability to provide complex, practical solutions for many complex problems, and that is what has differentiated him from many educators whom we see and interact. So I welcome Captain Unikrishnan.
Incidentally, for me, it's almost like homecoming. I have studied 100 kilometers away at a place called Chandrapur, which most of you must be aware of. I did my schooling under the Maharashtra State Board of Education, finished my 12th, then did my graduation, went on to join the army. After that I left in 95, I did a 5-year stint with the army, left and joined a marketing and communication company. And that is when I got an opportunity to understand education, where I visited about 100 schools in India and abroad. This was, at the time, 1995 was when I left the army, going through a change. I remember when I was leaving the army, my sister was the first one to say, "Tu बेवकूफ है क्या? फौज छोड़ रहा है, क्लास 1 गेजेटेड ऑफिसर है, छोड़ के प्राइवेट सेक्टर में क्या करेगा?" That was so. During our time, I was just telling somebody here that the first thing that came to our mind, or our parents would say, is, by the time you are 17, please register at the employment exchange. And I don't think today's kids even know that employment exchange exists. The most sought after newspaper used to be the employment news. Everyone was running behind that, where all are the vacancies, fill in for it. And if you will look at any government job which comes in, it says graduates with so much percentage marks are qualified. Even when you went for the interview, they only asked what was your qualification. Today, it's exactly the opposite. Even in a field like education, where the government has such strict regulations that you have to be a B.Ed, you should have so and so, you must be postgraduate. I would like to tell you all that at Primus Public School, our principal did her B.Ed after she became the principal. We took somebody who did have a B.Ed, we made her the principal, and then ICSE sent us a letter, no, you cannot have a principal who is not a B.Ed. And then we said, okay, please register, and then she got it, and you know how B.Eds are done in our country. So I don't think I would want to get into that. Education as an opportunity, I think if someone like me can make a success out of being in education, anybody can. It depends on how you look at it. Each one of us in this room may look at the same opportunity from a different angle, depends on what your strengths are. So I am basically not going to list out that, okay, here are the opportunities and this is the way to go ahead, because I am sure everybody who is a part of TiE knows how to make a success out of any business which they are doing. What I thought I would do is, I would share with you all what I have learned about education in the last 15 years, where I have seen it go from, like I said, a state government school to setting up Indus International School, which is an IB accredited. It's accredited by the IBO. We run the IB program right from kindergarten. To setting up Primus, which is a mix of both Indian and international. We offer the ICSE and the IGCSE program, and also now in 11th and 12th we offer the national curriculum, which is the NCERT through the state boards. So I just take you through what I feel is where the path of education is. At the end, I have a list of what I thought were opportunities where a lot of us could enter into. I'm sure you all will find much more than that as to what to do. I'm in the process of setting up a school here in Nagpur, which should, God willing, start in the next session. I'm sure you can get from the net, and I don't think any one of us need to be told, with having the largest youth population in the world, I don't think this is a no-brainer. We know that what kind of numbers can be there. This may only be much beyond what I have put in. The growth opportunities from a economic standpoint is what is there. Along with education, there is another thing which is called skill development. This is also a very high area where there is tremendous amount of opportunity, because this is again not has not grown as fast as the education system should. In most of us, I'm sure, who sit on the board of interviews, agree that you will find people who come in with the best of degrees possible. Today there is no unemployment, but there is tremendous amount of unemployability. I'm sure that at least in Bangalore, where all the newspapers screaming were right from Azim Premji to Narayan Murthy to everybody said that I get the best of people, even those coming from the topmost colleges, who I have to spend time and money with, which is 6 to 8 months of their work, trying to learn the job. 60 plus years since we have been independent. But if you will look at the background, the education system that we follow is what Lord Macaulay set up in India. I came across a small excerpt of what Lord Macaulay presented at the British Parliament before they came into India. I thought I'd share with all of you. He says, I've travelled across the length and breadth of India. I have not seen one person who's a beggar, who's a thief. We've talked of Ram Raj. I think that is what he meant by that. I have seen in this country such high moral values, people of such caliber, that I do not think we would ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is first very closely replace their old and ancient system, a culture. For if the Indians think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native culture, and they will become what we want them, a truly dominated nation. They have succeeded somewhere or the other in that. The education system which existed or which has been set up has given us a whole group of people who were trained to do what is told to them. I remember at least in school, if you asked a question, the teacher would say, that's not in the syllabus, no need to worry about it. If you write an answer, the marks were cut, no, this is not what is given in what I have given you as an answer, and you have not written an and, so half mark over here. And hence we all wrote more and more and more till we were writing exactly what the teacher said. It may not mean the same. It may not make, it did not make any difference to them. A very simple example I can give you of teaching. If you are running an English class, all of us remember this, every week or at least once a fortnight you have a dictation. And every parent when the child comes to ask kitna mera dictation hai. Now what do we do in dictation? There are 20 words which are given. You are supposed to by heart them and you are supposed to write it down. Yes, one good thing, whenever you saw that word, anywhere you knew whether it was right or wrong, wrongly spelled. But did it improve our vocabulary? I doubt. You knew 20 words. Let's go to another way in which probably the same thing could be done. Suppose you have 25 children in a class and you tell them every single week or even it can be a fortnight, all of you will come up with one word and you will come and write on the board. At the end of the class you will see that they know 20 or 25 new words. And not only that, since it is their contribution, they will always remember it. Now we can look at what is it that we would want to do. Education system it's put us in shackles. We need questions to answer. At the end of every chapter there are 5 or 6 questions and you are expected to answer them. Try it differently. Ask your child to read anything in the paper and say that I need 2 questions out of that paragraph. I can assure you, if you have to make a question, you should know the answer. Without knowing the answer, you cannot make a question. But that ability to make a question is lacking with us. Because our system does not promote. We are very worried. I'm sure all of you who are involved with schools know that there is a tremendous amount of pressure to finish the syllabus. How many chapters have you finished? Have you done this? Have you done this summative assessment? Have you done that formative assessment? That there is tremendous amount of pressure. All of us as parents are worried about the marks. The cutoff percentage Delhi University was 100%. What more now? Where are we going to go beyond? Are we going to add marks to something else? I do not know. But what does it mean? I remember 2 years back there was a student who topped ICSE. He came from Calcutta, I think. A very valid thing which he told in class after when the paper interviewed. He says, I may have come first, but there are 10 other children in my class who know as much as me. It's a matter of chance that I got 2 marks more than that. For a child studying 10th standard to think that way, I think it's a great thing. Because most of us, even as parents, bahut badhiya, dekho mail gaya na. Marks are tangible, but they are not reality. Any child, I'm sure of, you would have experienced it when you were in school as well. That anyone who gets about 90 and between 90 and 100, their knowledge within the class, their participation in all the activities would remain the same. The person who has done more rigor, has practiced more times, or probably got the questions which he knew would end up getting 100. But the knowledge-wise, they would all probably in the back. And that is the reason why in the West you have only a grading system and you do not have marks. Because in a grading system you have a bandwidth which says that all these children who are in A grade or A plus or whatever it is are almost on par. But we cannot survive with that because we need marks. Our cutoff is only that. We we can look at, we've been under slavery for so many years, 60 plus years since we got independence. Look at our education system, look at our rules, look at our government policies. They are all what the British have left for us. Look at America. They have gone exactly the opposite. If you use the left hand to use the fork, they said we'll use the right hand. If you are driving on the left side of the road, they said we'll drive on the right side. They have broken all the shackles which are there to think differently. Not that it's going to make any difference in whether you drive on the left side or the right side, so long as everybody follows one particular side, it's fine. But they wanted mentally to say that no, we are different from them. If we all spell sulfur as SULPHUR, they write SULFUR. COLOUR, on the computer will show you the trend line. It is only COLOR. See the impact that they have had on a language which does not belong to them. That is your ability to break away. You need to look at that as a mindset. But we are not. We have not been. Even today when we are thinking of changing, we are not changing the overall structure. We are doing bits and pieces here and there. We are saying stress is too much, so no exams in 10th standard. We just, unless you totally break away, it becomes very difficult to change something. Otherwise it's only a repair job. Over time, if you take the world, East and the West, there has been a polarization. The East has focused on skills. We are very good at, our spellings are best. You will generally have all Indians who will come top in spell bee and all those things. The West has focused on proficiency. They will tell us what to do, and we will do it very nicely. An interior designer will give you a design, the carpenter will make a brilliant piece, polish it nicely, make it shine. There is difference between skill and proficiency. It's not just us, it's the Koreans, it's the Chinese, it's all of them are bound by it. That's why they are running schools till 2 o'clock in the night, and then post school which starts at 4 o'clock in the morning. They work much harder than us. I can tell you that we are still better off. But we've all focused on skills. The Chinese make the best replicas of what has been done in the West. But both are not perfect. Neither is what the West is doing is perfect, nor is what we are doing perfect. We need to make a mix of both. I think we as a country, we have the right intelligence, and I think a lot of people who have had the exposure of going abroad, doing their MTech, probably MSc in the Western universities, have done a great mix of it. We need to bring that into the system where schools are involved. Especially at the school level, has two facets. One is academics, which all of us focus on. The second is personality. Academics is something which, again, I said, how can it be different from book-based education to what can be from an application-based? All of us can be. Personality is something, I don't know how many of you in this room know swimming. I'm sure probably all those who got an opportunity did. Those who did, I want you to go and try to learn swimming and learn it along with your child who is younger than you. You will find that they will beat you much faster. It is the same thing with speaking. Whether it is swimming, whether it is cycling, whether it is speaking, the earlier you learn, the better it is. Now, speaking does not mean I know 10 poems of हाँ बेटा अभी सुनाओ स्कूल में क्या पढ़ा है. That is not the ability of a child to converse. So if you get to a kindergarten program, it is not about learning ABCD, CAT, CAT, MAT, math, 4-digit addition. It is not about that. It is about the child's interactions. It is about how the child is confident enough to walk up to the teacher and say something. There are great learning experiences from the Montessori system. Now the disadvantage of the Montessori system is it does not focus on your fine motor skills, so if their writing is generally difficult, so you can do a mix of both. You can do a mix of Montessori, you can do a mix of kindergarten. Same way that we want to bring in keep some of the skills which we require. The tables are a must. That's why the Westerner cannot calculate 14 into 75. And oh God, okay, now get me the calculator. We'll do it immediately. So let's not miss that out. But let's bring this in along with it. We all understand that delivery of education is not linear. I'm surprised, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in understanding it. CBSE is saying they will have lesson plans online available for teachers to download and teach in the class. My problem is, does a child in Nagpur, does a child in Kanyakumari, does a child in Meghalaya, does a child in Punjab, do they understand it the same way? Can the same lesson plan work? From my experience, I don't know. Each has its own local flavor. And I think that is essential if you want the child to understand. If the aim is again to get marks, if the aim is again to complete the syllabus, that's a brilliant thing. So that you know all schools, irrespective of what they do, that much is done. It makes the job of the teacher that much more easier. You don't have to do anything. You go online, you have your username and password, download, print it out, come to the class and teach. Different areas. If you go to villages, their requirement is different. The way it has to be taught over there is different. If you come to cities, it's different. If you go to metros, it's different. And I think it needs to be dealt with differently. The requirements are also different. Everybody cannot become the CEO of a company. Everybody can't get into research. There are some who need that ability to think. There are some who are very good executives, who are the doers, who will give a task, they'll go after it hammer and tongs and ensure that it's finished. There are people who are required to be clerks. We can't say that all the kids are going to become only CEOs, vice presidents and so on who will do the job. Then we'll have to get the Chinese here. We can't have that. They are both technical and non-technical. It's not that only if you are doing science, only then you are intelligent. You need children to be writers, you need children to be in commerce, you need everything. We need people who will follow instructions. That is something which is diminishing by the day. All of us know how difficult it is to get house done. We need people who are good with their hands. That's why I mentioned about the skill development. You need people you still need the mechanics. You still need the guy who is going to change your tire if there is a puncture. You need the ones who can talk their way through. You need the sales and marketing guys. That's what the best does, even better than us. So we need all kinds of people. And all of them, the skill sets required are not the same. The opportunities are plenty, and so the skill sets are different. So you can't have a one suit fits all kind of an education system which is going to help all of us. School education addresses the basic. If we look at a spectrum that we have, we typically say we have a spectrum which varies from a steam engine to a search engine. It's as varied as that. We still have places where the steam engine is working. We still have places where people are traveling by bullock carts. And we have places where you have Mr. Ratan Tata who was beamed in for the launch of Nano. He was not physically present. We had Modi being present at 18 different places at the same given time. So we are in a society which is as diverse as that. A lot of people might think with technology coming in, everything can be done online. Schools are a necessity because it's not just about academics. But at the same time, schools are a community resource. For all of you who have been involved in running schools, I'm sure every parent who comes to you will be telling you, will my child get individual attention? I don't know how many parents can promise me that with 2 kids at home you are able to give individual attention to both of them. So how does a teacher who has 35 children in a class give individual attention? School will always remain a community. It is like, my favorite example, it's like a public transport. You have buses which have changed from probably the old rickety MSRTC, moving on to the Volvos to the Mercedes-Benz. But still it will not come home and pick you up at the time you want to go to the airport. You can have a second-hand Maruti 800 parked in a garage, which you can take and go wherever you want. But the Volvo or the Mercedes-Benz will not do it. So school will always remain a community, which is a must. But at the same time, you need something which is your own. Every child in the class has to study at his or her own pace. This is something which all of us must understand. There is a difference between studying and learning. Studying is for exams. If you look up the dictionary, you will find the same. And learning is for life. That's why the lawyer always says, let me study the case. He does not learn the case. He just studies the case because he should know what is there in it, and that is factual. Whereas learning is something which remains. You learn swimming, you learn cycling. It remains with you for life. And I think that's what needs to get into education. What we are doing of doing dictations is what we are studying. If you have understood the use of words, then it's a different thing. Then you have got into the next phase, which is learning. Learning needs a different kinds of learners based on method, time and place. I used to hate to stay up late in the night and study. By 8:30 even nowadays, mere lights off. After that, if I am at any place, I am only physically present there. Whereas in the morning, even if you're at 3:30, I have to get up and I have to do, and that was the same which happened at school. No, I can't have a school which starts at 3:30 in the morning. But at the same time, my learning is the best at that particular time. There are some who cannot get up before 11:30, 12 in the morning. They'll stay up till 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the night. Each has a different, I may have to write everything before I learn. There are some who read it once and they've got photographic memory, it remains in their mind. Each child is different. In the class, even in a group, among your friends, I'm sure you will be able to recollect that there are different people who have different styles. Teachers are in shortage. I should actually add to it, are very much in shortage. Whoever doesn't get any job then thinks, okay, chalo teaching mein chale jata. Or, ghar mein, now my children have grown up, now I think let me take a teach. But remember, teaching from our time, when we were in school, to teaching now, for all of you who have any exposure to children, is much different. Children will come and discuss with you right from Manchester United to Manchester City match to the Saas Bahu serial, or what's happening in Fist. What's that where I think Deepika Padukone is supposed to act some Hollywood movie, to everything. And if you are not able to converse with them at their level, then you okay, yeah, I have to study this. Whereas if you are able to be in touch with them, or if as you enter, hey, what happened yesterday? Who won? Chelsea or Man U? Oh, Man is also knowing this. Then their interest in the class is totally different. They will come and tell you. I'm sure all of us know that our children know about our mobiles more than us. So that you need to grant it to them. So as a teacher, if you are in this business, you have to remain on top. You have to read. You have to keep abreast of what's happening. Technology here is a great enhancer and an enricher of education. Why is technology? Not because it can be, like I said, for giving out a standard lesson plan in class. Technology offers opportunity to be available anytime, any place. You want to study at 4 o'clock in the morning? Go online, you can study. Now with the technology being available, you can study on a PC, you can study on the laptop, you can study on this mobile phone. Anytime, any place. It allows you the ease of choice. You can choose when, what and how you want to study. If you are a person who likes to see visuals, you can see videos which are there, which are available. If you are a person who wants to practice, there are a number of sites which give you assessment tests which you can get into, keep doing as part of practice. It offers inputs on progress. If you are registered, most of these technology solutions give you a background. When you started, you got 7 on 10 in ratio and proportion, now you are getting 10 on 10. If you were so and so in class, for this one, in say probably science, in circulatory system, this is where you were when you did your first test, this is where you are now. For parents, it will provide a constant update. You will get reports, your child has done so many hours, your second child has done so many tests. So you at least are abreast of what's happening. For the teachers, it will give them a guide, it will guide them on the gaps in the class. If they have conducted a test on 4 chapters in it, they will get to know, okay, these questions on ratio and proportion children have not, so many, about 50% of the kids have not answered. That means I must take this class again. Or algebraic equations have been taught and simultaneous equations have been taught, quadratic equations have been taught. In this, where are the gaps? Because it gives you a complete class consolidated result. So as a parent, you will know where your child is. For a teacher, the technology lets you know where does your class stand, and hence where should your focus be. Today, we have a number of education service providers. I don't know if there is anyone who works for education service provider who's here, from EduRite to EduCom to Teach Next. There are a number of solutions which are there. They are all focused on school-based solutions. Now, what are the challenges they face as a school-based solution? First of all, time limitation, because no school management has time to meet them. Schools are bound by syllabus. Because, like I said, CBSE, ICSE, whoever says how many chapters have you finished, this book has to finish by so and so time, I cannot go beyond it. I am not interested whether the child has learned or not. But have you finished your syllabus? Parents will come back and say, 12 chapter आपने इसको कुछ नहीं पढ़ा, 4 ही पढ़ाया अभी तक. Actually speaking, in science and math, yes, there is a gradual need to go one by one. But in subjects like English, Hindi, or any of these languages, what you do should be done well, rather than say that, okay, we've learned 12 poems, I know it by heart. You can do 2 poems and still understand language brilliantly, if you have done a thorough understanding of it. But schools don't have that freedom, because there is a report which goes every month, every week, every fortnight, and so on. All resources in the school tend to be tied up with what books the school follows. Focus now, because of that, shifts back from the studying to learning, from learning to studying. You are not, again, I myself met a number of people. Does it conform to CBSE syllabus? We are following this book. Will it have this? Will it have so and so question and answers? So you are bound only by that. I am not interested in how many more tries so and so YouTube video is there which explains so and so brilliantly. No. Many times the decision makers are not the users. The person who will take the decision whether you should adopt the technology or not is the management, and the user is the teacher. There is a tremendous amount of difference in both of their perception about the same product. Generic technology solutions are so, hence all these companies which provide you school-based education give you generic. Sir, CBSE के syllabus के हिसाब से आप डाउनलोड कर लो, सारे चैप्टर हैं, सारे क्वेश्चन आंसर किए हुए हैं, all the extra exercises are there. Different areas and types of schools have different needs. Even in Nagpur, you may have 3 or 4 different types of schools, and their needs are different. Now these generic solutions will not meet that. For schools with average, now if you were to look at places like, say, outskirts of Nagpur, say you were to look at Varda, Jam, Varora, there it's much more difficult to get teachers. So at least from an average standpoint, if you have a generic technology solution, it's a good thing. You know at least children have studied that much. There are many of them where you can switch it on and the teacher comes and there is a talk about it and everything, taking them through the question and answers. At least that, from those areas are okay. But if we are talking of having children who want to be on the upper edge, who should be able to become thinkers, then the requirement is different. A lot of schools say that, oh, we have a wireless campus, we've got laptops, tablets, all those things in school. Now the problem, what is the problem in that? It's brilliant, we've got the best of technology. But all of of us know, for all of us who have kids at home, we know that if you leave something like technology unsupervised, unless you get a report at the end of it what the child saw, you will not know where they were. And they all have the uncanny knack of reaching up to the site which they are not supposed to. Then you also have the fact that, I'm sure we are seeing it in school with kids, if you lose a notebook it will cost you another 10 rupees to buy a new notebook. Imagine losing a tab which costs 10,000 rupees. After all, they are children, what can you do? You can't jaan loge ya bacche. It's lost here. You have to buy another one. If you are used to a tab, you have no other choice. Maintenance of hardware and software. All of us know, till the time you buy a mobile phone or a tablet, the guy is after you, sir, this is the best, this is that. Second day you go back and tell him this is not working, sir, you have to leave it with us for 1 week. Now imagine you have a tab, the child is going to study on the tab, the day before the examination it crashes. What is it that you are going to do? I don't know. I am scared to even think of it. The next point is about limited usage by teachers. For two reasons. One, they have a home to run probably. Second, probably some of them don't even give access at home. A class, typically there are about 8 periods in school. Teachers will have about 4 to 5 periods. They will have about 3 periods which they are off. I don't think they will use that time to go and work on this. They would have some gossip to catch, which, ye sari kahan se liya, wo ye. It's but natural. I think it happens even with men. So I don't think you can blame them for it. They should ideally have it at a time when they are free. And most, not only free, they should be able to want to learn from there. There is a big opportunity for providing resources that can be used at an individual level outside of school. This is a great business opportunity. How you will make it available to children at a time when they want to, at a place where they want to, even for teachers. So technology basically can address that, but it's a difficult part because it's not a B2B, it's a B2C, business to consumer. But that is where you really have a great opportunity, and there it is a merit of your product which will stand up. I don't know how many of you here know of what's called the Khan's Academy. Nobody has promoted Khan's Academy. And if in a place like Nagpur with this one, if so many people know it, I think the quality of the product speaks. Solutions that will permit the user to choose their pace and their level of study. There are children you will find in grade 4 who may have finished 4th standard and they are sitting idle. Many times they are the children who cause problem for teachers. Because they already know it, they have already solved before the teacher can say. Now what do they do after that? So they will go and finger the other one who does not. So both ends are difficult. The ones who know all of it and the others who don't know. So both ends are difficult. For both, so the guy who is in 5th standard, who's done 5th standard math, you give him an opportunity to do 6th standard. Let him do it, they will do it because they are inquisitive about it, they have the interest. And if there is a child in 5th who cannot do the 5th because his foundation in 4th is not there, give him an opportunity to do the 4th standard thing. Now in a class you cannot allow it. Because the teacher has prepared and come for 5th standard, how will she go down and say, okay, for this child's sake I am going to go back? Cannot happen. And if you have not understood division, you cannot do fractions. I am sure all of us know that. If you have not understood fractions, you can't go to mixed fractions. So, where is the opportunity now? The teacher is not going to go back and teach. So here is an opportunity if there is a technology where the child can study at their own pace. So it will help the children who are struggling. It will also help the children who are good go beyond. No, that is as far as the online opportunities is. Now, with education coming up, like I started with saying, we are the youngest population in this whole world. So we are the children being born every minute or every second for that matter, or probably shorter than a second. We are going to beat the Chinese, at least in that. So where do we stand? There is a tremendous amount of opportunity available for number of schools to if you have a school, even if it's below average, you will still be full. Because there is a need to go to school. Hence, if that industry is coming up, just as all of us saw when the software industry came up, along with it came what was called the housekeeping. Along with that came what was called the catering, which came to where they set up food courts, and hence a lot of people got jobs. So with education, there are a lot of offline opportunities which will need specialists. People who start schools will have to focus on academics. I told you, if you want to really run a good school, you have to focus on academics. You have to focus on how you are going to make your delivery different. Maintenance, plumber, electrician, this, that. Today it's all in a mess. Somehow you have one man Friday who does everything. It's a trial and error system. There is an opportunity to be a professional maintenance company. Take over the headache from the school. I'm sure a lot of schools will be waiting for it. Security, yes. Security, not somebody just sitting at the gate, but doing a proper security, because if you have technology, you have high-end equipment in schools, it needs a proper security. Logistics. A very simple thing, I'm sure many of you as parents would have seen school bus. School bus driver, conductor. He just sits there and drives. I don't think he has any idea. But he would have got a driving license, and that is what the school sees before giving him the job. But I think there is a basic amount of care and concern which needs to be taught, not only to him but to all drivers, but specifically to him. For the conductor to understand how and when the driver should not brake wherever it is, start off before the children are sitting. There is no place where he is trained. We are expecting one day some accident happened, all of us will call up and say, nahi aise chalana chahiye, waise chalana. There is nowhere he is trained. There is a need to have a setup where there is a continuous process to keep these people online. And I am telling you, the moment you have this, all of them who can afford, the parents will be willing to pay that extra so long as you have trained staff. All may not pay. We should not say that it is everybody will eat only ration ka chawal. Basmati, you want to eat Sona Masuri, you eat. What you afford to pay for it? Why should we say no, because it is like this, everybody should do the same. There is an opportunity to provide life skills training to children. This is something which some of the people who have been in the field of management have an expertise in. You can take up that responsibility from the school and offer that service to them. There is also proficiency in sports. Now you can't hire the best of coaches to be as a part of the school. So if there are a group of people who have formed a sports company, they will come and take over your sports education. Career counseling. What to do, IIT, JEE, this one, that one. There's so many. Now, as of now, the senior most school teacher who has been teaching 12th standard has heard of so many of this one is what is doing. A formal career counseling opportunity for children, not just IIT, JEE. There are tremendous, that everybody knows. IIT mains, IIT advanced, this one, that one, need, all those things everybody knows. How can you give them non-conventional dress design? NID, what is it? What is the difference between NID and NIFT? Where can you do, what does the Raffles School of Design do? Where all can you get admission for it? Do they have Indian campuses? Journalism, mass communication, what is the difference between advertising writing, that is creative writing, and journalism? Both are different courses. Activities to enhance understanding. There are a lot of people in Bangalore who have come up with this. They come and give you activities of sciences. They are making small kits which children can do and experiment with it. There are a lot of people who are very good with hands. There is an opportunity for them to create these things and tell the school that okay, we will come. We will do once a week, once a month, or once in a term we will come and do so and so this thing for you. And we will expose your children. Whatever is your strength. If your strength is in mechanics, do for mechanics. If your strength is in life, do it for life. Create those things. There is a tremendous amount of opportunity. Like I said, the teachers have a limitation. And children, unless they see it and do it, will never remember. Hobby clubs, photography. There is a brilliant opportunity for someone who is a photographer, go and say, okay, I will run a photography club in school for these many children. It's a business opportunity which can be done very well. Education is a very satisfying field because it not only gets you fortune, but it also gets you fame. I've seen it because even when I go to a mall somewhere, there's a little fellow will run and go, "Hi sir, how are you?" I think that gives you so much of satisfaction than all the money in the world can probably give you. Even among the people who come to meet the teachers or the management in school speak to you with respect. Unlike in ये कितने का दिया? उसमें कितना discount दे रहे हो? People may ask for discount, but at least they will not ask it like this. There will be some dignity in the way they'll ask. To close, I would only like to say, you do not educate a man by teaching him what he knew not. Indeed, you educate him by making him what he was not. And I think that is what all of us remember about our teachers. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, please. Yes, sir. It goes on till 2 o'clock in the night. They're called the night schools where, like our coaching centers, we haven't reached that stage, that's all. How do they offer? Sir, it's only a further of our coaching centers. I'm sure our children now, even in Nagpur, I'm sure classes go until 10 o'clock in the night. If you go to Hyderabad, you go to Kota and other places, there are classes which start at 5 in the morning, go until 2 in the night, and after that children have homework which they have to go back to their room and do. It's like a cell, you can't come out of it.
Is it restricted only from some 12th class students, or is
No, it starts, see, like today IIT coaching has started in grade 7. It is not 12th class students alone. Unfortunately, see, as the race becomes that much more tougher, there are more and more wanting to prepare that much more earlier. So it is, I dread to think we are also getting to that place only.
What is the model of operation? The business is what? I mean, what is the
So, if you want to start any of these related fields which I told you, you don't have to be a trust. But if you have to start a school, unfortunately, like I said, the government still holds on to it saying that you should be a trust. In Maharashtra, I think you have to be a charitable trust.
Yes,
Yeah, they have. But again in CPSC, there is this one saying you should be for profit, you should not be for profit. The reason I gave you the example of that food is, the basic needs are roti, kapda or makan. We do not have any limitations on that. You can buy shirts for 6,000 rupees. You can buy rice at say 700 rupees a kg. There are some of those exquisite this one. Why is it that only school education should, only education for the, there are houses sold at 10 crores, 12 crores as in this one. I don't know why the government is so much against education being opened up. Ultimately, if I were to start a school where I'm charging, I mentioned to somebody here saying there are schools in Bangalore where the fees are 12 lakhs per annum. There are takers for it. You are not forcing them. And if they don't run it properly, they are going to suffer for it. A parent who is going to pay 12 lakhs is obviously going to demand he would want that, oh no, AC on that particular day in this class did not work. All that's going to happen. But leave it out. Take away the restrictions. One of the reasons from what my understanding is, other than the Indian Railways, the largest employer is the education department. Probably the government doesn't want to let go of that. But if we need to do, yes, I am for our right to education, you must give children of the lower communities this one too. Does that mean that you are not going to allow a person who we are losing out so much of revenue by children going abroad and studying? If you were to open that out and give it here, you will have that money being with us. But I do not understand the logic behind this. There is all, and the moment you say no, it's a profitable business also, oh no, you are doing education for profit. I don't see, if teachers don't get that kind of a salary which you need to, where will you ever be able to attract the best of staff to come and teach? You will still have all the, like I said, the ones who, mere bacche abhi pade hoge apna job.
No, if you look at, there is so much of anomaly in the sense that today even this education year, And even IIT today has less than 5,000 students, seats vacant.
Correct.
And in a place like Nagpur, you have at least 40 colleges, out of which 15 don't have any students.
Correct.
So, I mean, people here talk about right to education and all, but,
Sir, the moment the problem is, till the time we had restrictions, everything, Ambassador and Bajaj Chetak, to buy a car it was only today, where is Ambassador? It's closed down, Bajaj Chetak, largest selling scooter in the world, the Bajaj no more makes scooters. They survived at a time when you had no choice, you waited for 6 years to buy the stupid Bajaj Chetak. Today if you don't like the girl at the showroom, you don't want to buy the vehicle. So if you open it out, leave it to the consumer to choose what he wants, where he wants to go. Why are you trying to restrict, saying, नहीं आपके स्कूल में ये नहीं होना चाहिए, ये ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए स्कूल में? If they want to run Volvos as school bus, let them through. The parents are paying for it.
ultimately, everything is going to be driven by money because the kind of, infrastructure that you require,
Yes.
even for AICTE recognized, institutions, is difficult for anybody to even think about.
Even if you go by AICTE, you will only do, they say that per student so many toilets. That's all those are the regulations which they give. I know that the CBSE or the ICSE says you should have 350 or 450 square feet classroom for 45 students or so. You look at the private schools, they are offering much bigger classrooms. No, if you want, and people are willing to, if I start a 5-star school and everything here, but if you as a parent who are paying the money and not happy with it, you will withdraw your child and put in another school. I can't force you, no, यहीं पे पढ़ना है, 12 तक एक बार कर ले. Touch means married, ये तो नहीं है ना. So I fail to understand where is the problem in the government letting go of this particular regulation. I'm absolutely not understanding. You let them, I invested 50 crores thinking that I will get all the kids. I did not run my business properly. I am stuck with it. No, government has not put one money or 1 rupee also. Why?
There are certain, education groups in Central India whose, say the value of the asset, infrastructure that they have created, say maybe more than 400-500 crores, but the revenue that they are getting today is not more than 25% of that.
Exactly. And slowly the whole thing, the maintenance of that will drop. You will have
पुराना ही नहीं उनको,
you are
they are surrendering seats. I mean,
sir, surrendering seats is a minor thing. Even the children who are there will not get the education because where will you manage the teachers? वो तो running expense होना चाहिए ना. चलो ठीक है, I had some money. I am a generous man. I built the, but running expenses there should be a break even.
all this is leading to nothing else but FDI in education.
Sir, even FDI will not invest. Foreign universities do not want to come to India because of that. The private education bill is held up for the reason they are not agreeing to this charitable clause policy. People starting up management schools, hire them and you pay them and then they take money out. That's a private sector. See, exactly what happens that you are not promoting the economy. Why is there so much of black money in the market? Because of which schools where you are paying donations which is never accounted for. You make it, let the private schools which are not charitable, let them pay the 33.3% tax which is paid by companies. You will get more revenue than what you need to run schools. Why should you make it charitable? Collect that money from them. And then what the rich give, the poor that you want, and that money which goes into that organization coming in way of tax back to the government, you use it for that. Then the problem is not, the more it is like all of our kids, the more you tell them, nahi karna, wohi karenge. Like they say, if you have something which you love so dearly, let it go. If it didn't come back to you, that means it never was yours. If it is yours, it will be with you only. Our government is scared of that. Because they all want to treat education as a holy cow. Nahi, how can you dare say something like that? How can it be profitable? Person who is paying is willingly paying. You are not putting the gun on the temple, no, Mr. Yate, your child has to study in my school only. I don't think I can force him to do that.
There must have been this lucrative option for you to go into coaching rather than teaching or schooling rather. So like you mentioned about the model of quota and other coaching classes, why is it that right now it is, according to you, what is more profitable or there are good opportunities in coaching, or
Sir, as a business opportunity, there cannot, till the time the mindset of the people changes, there cannot be changed. But it's a matter of time, like you said, when engineering colleges are going to remain empty. See, the reason why I set up Indus. Indus is a purely international school. It's spread over a 45-acre campus. It's got air-conditioned buses, 5-star khana, all those things. The fees are started at 6 lakh, now it's almost 10 lakhs per annum. It caters to a niche of whatever it is. I've seen the top end. The reason we started Primus, which by Bangalore standards is much lower price or is affordable to the middle class, was because we wanted to bring in international teaching practices at that level. From a business standpoint, surely till the time people will realize that it's not marks which is mattering anymore, and that is a tilt we do not know when it will happen. I was just, I think Mr. Iyer and I were discussing when we were coming back. Till the time people realize that, boss, it is not about getting admission, it's about what I know. Because I give you the example of my own school. I took a teacher who's not a DEd and made her the principal. When you run a business, you will not go by the guidelines. But the government goes only, MBA passed with 60% can only apply. There are not, you look at the number of software companies which are run by non-software graduates. There are so many of them who have done NIIT courses and are today heading software companies, who have done IIHT and networking and hardware and are today heading this one. The companies which are private are not worried about what you have in hand. They are only worried about what you have between your ears. That is what matters.
So now that you spoke about regulations and so much of hassle, government hassle or governance hassle, why not go for a coaching class or a
Yeah, you must.
module? So that's what I'm asking. Are you choosing schooling over coaching? Your reasons for it?
Yeah, see, like I said, it's more from the heart.
Okay.
It's more for the fame and the, that's why I give you all those options on online. You are not governed by anything. Of all those ancillary services, you are not governed by anything. I'm into schools because I love being with kids. I enjoy, I still take classes with them, I still go and play with them. I am into it because of that. But at the same time, since I have seen both ends of education, I know where the pain points are. I may not be able to find a solution. That's why I'm telling you point blank that these are problems which exist. But there is tremendous amount of scope if you are not just looking at problems. It is surely not a money-making business. Even in a place like Bangalore, if I had the same amount of money I spent to make Primus, if I had started a BPO, I would have been holidaying in Mauritius every week, if not earlier than that. Money, education is not for money. What I'm against is not to make it charitable. Let there be a profit motive. Everyone will not look at making so much of money out of it. And if they go to that stage, you will automatically shun it. If you make your coaching classes to be so exorbitant, nobody will come to you. No? आदमी में भी थोड़ा दिमाग है ना जो आ रहा है. You should grant the consumer the intelligence to choose of what he wants and what he is willing to pay. So why should you govern this one and say, no, fees इससे ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए? And you will also end up having projects which are not clean, teachers are not wanting to teach. You will have all those problems which is there in the government sector. Yes.
I just want to understand a very small thing. Say for example, a bill for private education is now a reality. Say for example, and by the very nature of the school business, it has a very embedded entry or exit barrier for various associated business activities. Say for example, if my kid is studying in some good school, obviously I will be very, very afraid to take my kid out of that school and put it to some new school in the middle of the season, or probably in the middle of the semester. Say for example, IB curriculum, primary year program or middle year program. Unless we have completed those 5 years program, that primary or middle or higher, I will be very, very afraid. So that is natural entry or exit barrier embedded in this system. Now, my question is that, say for example, I want to enter into this education business once this private education bill is a reality. I want to understand your ethical viewpoint in order to make money out of this natural and exit barrier. Because I know that parents will be hesitating to take their kids out. At the same time, it enables me to charge a little bit higher because now I am running this business for profit. So I just want to understand some ethical viewpoint from
So
you.
ethical business is a business which is, I don't know how many of you know that most schools do not have even their fee out of control, so they can't say that the fees is so much.
Alright.
Okay, if you go to Shoppers Stop or Nagpur Central or wherever it is, if you buy a Van Heuser white shirt and pay 750 rupees, when I go there I also have to pay 750. That is as far as transparency is concerned. Whereas if you go to the ready wala and buy 1 kg of banana, if it's evening time is going off, he will probably give it to you at 25 rupees if he had been selling at 40 rupees last year. So that is not the system which is there. But if you are running an ethical business, it has to be absolutely above board. That's why I said they should even pay the 33.3% tax which the government takes. It's a revenue for them. Coming to the point about parents not willing to try that change. They will try the change, like I gave you my own example of leaving a government job and ending up in a private sector. It is a risk. All of us are scared of change. Change is something which bothers all of us, including, I think earlier, the largest selling toothpaste in India was Colgate. If you went to North, people said, "मैं Colgate का क्या?" That means a brush. Today, Colgate is not market leader anymore. If nobody understands take that first jump. Some of them will be moving later. Some more will take some more time. अरे नहीं तुमने डाला बेटा कैसे करना है तुम्हारा? He'll come home and ask. But that change will happen just as our industry has changed from a government public sector to a private sector. Today I know of army officers whose children the last option is joining the army. कुछ नहीं मिला तो ठीक है यार किसी को SSB में देख लेंगे उसको वहाँ भर्ती करवा देंगे. If he is good, I don't want my son to go there. So that, if you are running a good institution, you will have people coming to you. ISB in Hyderabad is not affiliated to AICTE. It's not affiliated, it is, their degree is not accepted by the thing. But look at, if there is an ISB graduate and somebody from an AICTE approved, who will get the job?
Employability is much higher than that, as you rightly mentioned.
Sir,
Employability is a challenge.
You have to give them what they want.
Alright.
Give. ICFAI is another organization. ICFI. There are people now going for that. So it will take some time. But if we are not going to see who is the one, if you've gone to the sea for swimming, if you want to reach the farthest, you should be able to take a wave which is coming up. And opportunity in business always comes in waves. You should be able to say, ride the wave.
Right.
If you are at the right time and the right, Infosys did nothing great, let me tell you that. They were there at the right time at the right place. And they made money out of it. There are so many other companies who got brilliant products in Bangalore, but they are not there at the right time. They are coming in now. They will never make the kind of money that Infosys made. So, if you are at the right time, at the right place, you've made the right decision.
Many thanks, sir.
Incidentally, you gave a very good talk, and incidentally, I'm also from the education area. And my question is very simple. You've always been talking about the international standards. See, international standards. I mean, you're talking about that when you're talking in the schools. We are getting the Ivy grade levels, we are getting in the international standards. When what I found out is the best teachers in the world are Indians. And still, when there were no international standard schools, still our children were preferred abroad.
Correct.
But what is the difference that you're giving in education with the international standards? I didn't understand that.
What has happened is over the last year, that was the basic reason I also said we started Primus was to bring international standards at Indian levels. Okay, what is different in India? If you take Indian education, it is school centric. The school decides what subjects you must study. The school decides what books you must study. The school decides how many questions in a chapter you must answer. Because it is specified in the syllabus. If you look at an international education, you can today do history and mathematics and go into engineering. You can't do that in India. So, There it is more about understanding. When you say international practices, is about delivery of curriculum. We are not teaching them international this one. There, I think I missed out making that point when I was saying. If you look at education over there, it is based on questioning rather than answering. Children are given the opportunity. To give you a small example, there's a school in the US. One of my friends is child studying there. We're discussing this today. The first day of school in the academic session, everyone is given that small post-it pad, yellow. And the teacher says, I want you to write what you expect out of me on this and put it on the board behind. After that, the teacher goes and writes what the teacher expects of the child below that. And then she says, this is the understanding between the two of us for this whole year. And in that, there is no chapter to be taught or anything. Children are, there is a proficiency, if you see, or if you go online, you will get common curriculum standards. Common core, CCS, common core curriculum standards. In that, it is mentioned at a particular age what you should do. Today, if you go to an Indian school, which book you are following is what they do. There, it is about knowing the thing and not about following a particular thing. And that is the only international practice. Rather than go on scales, I told you about tables. In our system, we want them to all know by the time you are in second standard, you should know tables up to 8, by the time you are in third up to 10 and 12 and 14 and 6. It is good. Over there is nothing of that. That does not mean that we should not know the tables. But we remain focused. I have had a friend of mine who came and said, Captain sir, मुझे लगता है my son likes math very much because he knows tables up to 18 and he is only in second standard. Now the boy is in 7th standard and he is planning to drop mathematics when he goes into 8th standard because there is an option to drop math. Mathematics is not about doing numbers or telling the percentages. Mathematics is about spatial intelligence. That is arithmetic. Doing the percentage, doing ratio and probability, that is arithmetic. Mathematics is about how would you find the area of this room and cut it into 7 equal pieces. That is the ability to apply mathematics to that. If you look at what you said is right, our old system of education, which was there in Gurukul, but that is not being followed. I think I started with that.
Yeah, I got that. But what I was trying to hit is we are training these students for education abroad. We are sending such a lot of capital cost invested on children for people abroad. I mean, and they are talking like that. You know, last time when I was in MIT, people were telling that Indians are doing a very good job. I mean, the students there are paying less cost and getting the same level of education. I mean, are we preparing for them?
No.
That's what I was feeling.
We are not preparing for them. On the contrary, I am focusing on even in school. My own son is now in his 11th standard. I have no intention of sending him abroad to study. It's not to study abroad, but to get that method of understanding. Many of us who have gone abroad after BTech and done MS or MTech would realize there is so much of change in that. I'm sure for all of you who would have probably had an exposure, they do not have a permanent faculty to teach in colleges.
Yeah, no.
And the classes start at 6 in the morning, stop at 9 in the morning, and then start at 6 in the evening and end at 9 in the night. For the simple reason that the people who teach are people who work, so they come in their free time either before going to office or after coming from office. And during this period between 9 and 12, when we have lecturers coming and writing notes, even in MTech and PhD, their children are supposed to go to the library, sit down there, do their research and ask questions for the person who is coming back in the room. Like I said, it's learning by questioning. That's called the Socraterial way of learning. So it surely is not. The Indian core of what, see the reason why we have succeeded as a clan is because of our ability to, one, do hard work. Second, to manage with minimum resources. If this computer was not there, I would have still made my presentation. Yes. But ask a Westerner who would come from there, if there is a power cut, he says, sorry boss, until the thing comes, I can't work. Our ability to work with minimum resources, our ability to manage and work hard towards achieving something. The only reason the Indira Nooyis of the world have gone to head Pepsi is because of their hard work.
I mean, schools like Shantiniketan also work well.
Yes. No, there is a place for everybody. There is a place for Shantiniketan does not follow the conventional system.
Yeah.
If you go to Valley School, if you don't like the teacher, you can jump out of the window and go, nobody questions you. You try that in your school. So
Disciplinary,
so
very disciplinary.
we will change the Madhukul system. You have to work. What is Howard Gardner talking of multiple intelligence? The fact that all the 5 Pandavas went to the same guru and had different proficiencies talks of multiple intelligence. That happened so long back. So I'm saying we unfortunately lost the way in between. Let's get back to that. Let's learn by these things. That is what my whole talk is about.
I differ on the fact that call schooling as business, but for the sake of lack of words, let's call schooling as business. So schooling business, do you think it is intended to the parent or for the parent? Or as an entrepreneur, I need to focus on my students, what I should deliver to the students, or what the parents want?
Consumer, sir. Any business that you do is made for the consumer.
So if a parent says that I want my kid to bring Maggi noodles into the classroom every day, so as a school, I'm just talking about a small petty thing, but that goes on to everything, There are parents who come and tell, you have not taught them Cinderella stories so far, you're only talking about Chacha Chaudhary, and you're not talking about Cinderella. So how do you go about it? Do you do the right thing, or you do the...
I think you missed out something which I told about individualization. See, as a school, you run a school, I run a school, they focus at different things. A parent has to choose where. If you want to buy a car, you've got Audi, you've got Mercedes-Benz, you've got BMW, you've got Jaguar. I cannot tell you that no, you should buy only this. You like Jaguar, you buy that. That doesn't mean that's the best car. So you run your school based on a certain philosophy which you follow. You cannot cater education for everybody. You tell the parent that this is. I know of parents who come and say, "उनके school में वैसा होता है, आपको वो पसंद है, आप उधर जाओ."
So you can run this with this arrogance at least,
No, it is not arrogance. You should be able to explain to them that we have a certain philosophy and we follow this. I get it. There is a difference between the way you say it. It is not what you say that matters. It is the way you say that matters. So it is not everybody feels that if you are in education you should decry everyone else. It is not. And nobody can cater to everybody's requirement. Nobody can cater to it. There cannot be any single school which says we cater to all the 1,000 students who are studying with us. Cannot happen. Everybody has to, if you get 60% satisfaction in a school, you should thank your stars that your child is with us. People have to realize that. And even when you promote your school, never say that, ये हो जाएगा, मेरे स्कूल में डाल दे तो उसके बाद don't worry about it. The first question I faced when we were starting Indus was I had a parent who came and, sir, I have only one question for you. If I put my child in your school, will he get into IIT? So I looked at him, I said, where is your child? How old is he? He said 3 years old, I want to put him in kindergarten. I said, by the time he comes to 12th, one, I don't know whether he will want to do engineering. Second, I don't even know if you will want him to go to IIT, there will be much better places to go. But parents are like that. They will come up with this. Like I said, you have to answer them with that. Not ask the question. This is not in the... Sir.
Yeah, let me. I'm just expressing my opinion. I was in US for 10 years. My dad is also a teacher. So what happens in US is there are a lot of opportunities, job opportunities. So after like the people who become the teacher there, like primary, elementary or middle school, those are the people like first they will look at the wages. So there are a lot of opportunities. The people like there is a talent and merit. Like that is one of the main consideration. In India, what happens if the candidate do not get admission to, like for example, engineering or doctor, then he will go into the lecturership career or the teachers. So and in US, there are a lot of opportunities. So the people who do not get the job, they will come to the teaching.
Correct.
So that's the reason the talent of the teacher compare like whatever the talent of teachers overall on average talent in US, that is much like India's teachers are much more talented than it matters a lot because the way they speak, the way they can make the students understand, that is a main difference. That is like there are good and bad things. In India maybe the people are not regular, like the teachers will not listen, they will not follow the syllabus. Okay, government pay कर रहा है, चलो पढ़ाया नहीं पढ़ाया चलेगा. There are people, there are very good talent, but you know maybe, but in US they will follow whatever their rules, regulation, go do, and they will follow their procedure and whatever the syllabus that is there. As a team, they work very much better. But in India, individual, they are very much talented. Like there are so many talented teachers, everybody may have seen here.
Yeah.
I mean, old Indian education system was also very good.
Yes.
Where they respect the elders, they respect the teachers. Teachers, they will respect the value, and the teacher will also teach from heart. So it makes a lot of difference instead of looking at the profession.
Yes.
So it's just opinion I'm telling you, like just looking at international, there is a lot of, our teachers are very much better than them.
They are, but they have to be given the freedom. They should be given the opportunity to do MBA teaching in our school in the primary classes, and by choice, and not because of salary. Not because of salary. Like I said, it's a, for some it has to come. I like to do this. Who have worked in the US, come back. The husband is continuing to work in the IT industry. The wife has said, no, I want to be in the school. So what you said is very true. If you take Finland, in Finland the topmost layer of people join teaching. And they are the most highest paid. They are the highest paid. They are the highest paid. They have the most amount of respect in the society. If there is a teacher going, typically you will give way to them for them to move. So it's a system of, in India, the only people we worship is the ones who have money. It's not knowledge that we worry about. So there is a difference in culture. I'm surely not saying our teachers are not good. We just need to give them the structure from where they can be gifted. See, today nobody can say, I know everything. There will be children who will come up and tell you so many things which you do not know. That was one of the points which I said, that you should be open to accepting them. But our system does not give you that. And now with all the more the syllabus having to be done, so and so, the report to be sent, lesson plans which are completed to be couriered by so and so time, I think they are only putting too many more strictures into it. That is the only worry which is there.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Presentation, I must say that. Although I have been basically a corporate man, I had my brush with the education sector for some few years. In fact, I'm sure people have heard about Wigan and Lee College.
Yes.
I launched their Bombay campus in Mahalakshmi a few years back. And I was heading that team actually. And we have a system where at the end of classes on a surprise basis, we used to circulate a evaluation sheet to the students to evaluate the faculty. And that way we could give a feedback to the faculty in terms of how they are doing and all that. In fact, the worst step was a very bad decision for me was to recruit one faculty. He was actually from IIT and he was teaching operations. He was absolutely a great teacher, but we had to remove him unfortunately because the feedback we got from students for almost the whole term was totally against it. So I think this is a system where, you are talking about openness and like the marketing people always talk about choice and all that, I think. But I will come to, again, my question I have is, I've been in the Gulf for a number of years. As a Gulf parent, most of these parents, they send their students to India after they finish 10th standard. That is because all the competition business starts after 12 and they want their
to get into the IITs and
child to be here in India for those 2 years to familiarize.
My only, this one, I am also paired with a similar, this one my son still not into 11th. I tell parents is, if that is the order of the day, you cannot get out of it.
Correct.
This first law of motion, if I know what it is, then for me to by heart, every body continues in its state of rest or uniform motion unless an external force is acting on it, is not difficult. But if I start by hearting it without understanding, then there is a problem. Then I am worried about, in this, if I miss one word, it must be before stationary, continuous. So I know those things. So if you have done an education which till 10th standard gives you an understanding of the fundamentals, then in 11th and 12th, if you are still focused on your marks, it's over. Alright, because if you will take what is taught, most of the concepts are taught by the 10th standard. It's only working above that which happens in 11th and 12th.
Yeah.
And what you said about rating teachers is something which we should be ready to incorporate.
Absolutely.
At Primus, I have got the kindergarten children rating their teachers. At the end of the year, we are the first school probably which has a 360-degree appraisal policy where the children rate, the peers rate, and then the management rates. We only left out the parents because the parents unfortunately don't think like the children. If the child gets less mark, then the parents won't rate it well. But I must, if I get an opportunity, I'll share it with you. Children are so very clear about their thing, even if it's a teacher who's very strict and gives some punishment or whatever it is, but if she teaches well, they'll rate her.
Yeah.
They are very fair in what they do. And I have told teachers, you have to accept this because this is the reality of what you are doing. You may know everything, what you said is true. IIT is we had the same reason. Last year we had to ask one of the teachers to leave. Fortunately, she put in her papers before that. Was because of the fact she was the most qualified. Right from PhD, MPhil, everything she had. There was no qualification left, Indian and international. But couldn't teach. So there is a difference in teaching and in qualification that say something. I don't know if you know the person called Sadhika Peerpal. She was the person in charge for Viganan Day in Bangalore. And I met a close friend of ours.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We talk about conventional systems, we talk about modern day teaching, but still there is something which does exist. We call it as an employability quotient. Still it is a problem. Still the latest report says somewhere around 7 to 22% people are only employable when we come to management graduates. So we say that the standards are improving. There were government players initially, now we are seeing a lot of private players coming into this picture, but still this figure is not going up. So any specific reasons for that, or do we look at the curriculum as such in total?
The reason why, to take the same example of management, the reason why students coming from IIM are better than probably coming from other management institutes are not because just of the teach. If you look at the faculty in IIM is the best. More importantly, there is a tremendous amount of peer interaction there. And that is what brings up the reason why unemployability is because of one single thing. There is no industry interface in India. That is precisely why I told you, when you do an MS or an MTech in the US, there are no faculty which teachers. The faculty which teachers are the administrators, the registrar and the librarian and the rest are all who come from industry, who will come and tell you. There are people who give live projects to the students to do as projects. Here, I don't know, I think I was discussing with you, the most wanted person outside any campus is the guy who gives the project to you. So he has the list and he says, कौन सा मिला? ये रहा, उसका towel change कर दिया, पकड़ा दिया. You go, you get it 10 on 10 or 12 on 12 or whatever it is. That is the reason, sir. Unless we bring in industry interface into it, it is not going to change. And for that we need to be open enough, both as the government should allow that to happen. Now they are saying that 6th semester should be done only in companies and things like that. Again, I don't know how much of sincerity is there in it. But if those things are done, you will surely see a change.
There are a lot of autonomous also nowadays coming up.
So they will all, ISB is one of them, INFI is another one. I'm sure those will change the way it is. And it's such a huge population, it will surely take time. We are talking about the most bureaucratic red tape. We've got democracy, we've got everything to go. China at least doesn't have to fight with democracy. So everybody has to be kept happy.
So we at we are basically looking towards entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurs always have this particular question in their mind. Something that they say that people are not employable. Even though they are highly qualified nowadays, management graduates are coming out.
So entrepreneurs will look for not degrees, that is precisely what they do. They will not look for degrees. They will say, what is it that you can do for me, not what you have in your hand for me.
Yeah.
And they only have the guts. The government will never change its selection policy. The government is never going to change its selection policy. It is only entrepreneurs like us who are trying to take the thing will say, "ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं." I had a fresh graduate finished before his results came. March में उसका April में उसका exam खत्म हुआ. He was teaching with us from June. Most sought after English teacher. It was, but if I were a government regulated school, how can you hire so and so? He doesn't have BA. Thank you very much. It's been a great honor and it's been a pleasure being with all of you. Thank you very much.
This was a very pleasant evening because this program was not in pipeline, but we came to know that he is visiting Nagpur on a fairly regular basis. Then we thought, let us plan something out, and we have come to this particular program. It was a very good program in the sense that we are doing a lot of programs which were more of generic in nature. We are trying to address now through this program something which is very specific, maybe opportunities in education sector. So this is another very specific program for us, and it was a delightful audience also, very interactive also, and a lot of questions which were put to him. So it is quite heartening to know these things. Thank you very much for attending this particular program, and we are coming up with a lot of exciting programs in future as well. TiECon registrations are on, so you can also register for TiECon. We have already crossed somewhere around 20 plus registrations in first 10 days of TiECon registration. So you can start because we are going to offer something called first 50 registration, a very high powered workshop with the TiECon speaker only. So do register for TiECon. So with this note, I thank you all. The dinner is ready. This is going to be another networking dinner. I would request Mrs. Meela Dixit to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Thank you. Thank you. The dinner is ready. So let's have a networking dinner now.